Weekend Explorer on ABC Perth.
It's 20 to 9 here on ABC Radio Perth. Chris Parry is away on some travels. I sent him off on some research, as we like to do. And incidentally, Mickey Cusack has just got back from a personal trip. So I asked her to hop into the studio. And Mickey, you can tell us, where did you hop to this week, since I saw you last in this studio on
since
Saturday?
You saw
Where have you been?
last in this studio last Saturday, I went home, quickly packed my bag and headed straight to the airport for a red eye, and I went to Seoul in Korea, and today I'm back ready to go. I got back in yesterday at 4:30am.
That is a crazy turnaround trip. That's something I would do for work and could completely understand, but this was leisure, right?
This was leisure, and I only made the decision to go, I think it was about 8 days before that, so it was all people were like, where are you going? And I was like, I'll just quick jaunt to Korea.
As you do.
As you do.
Was there some sort of inspiration for that decision?
Yes, there was a couple of reasons for me. So I've been looking to do a holiday for a little while because Kip is now old enough for me to go away by myself. And then I have a friend based in Seoul, and she's only there on a short-term mission.
Right.
So she'll be leaving early next year. January, December's too crazy. So it was kind of just now or never. And the flight time wasn't too crazy.
Yeah, what is the flight time?
It's about 13 and a half hours with a stopover in KL.
Okay, that's not too bad.
Not too bad.
That's
like New York felt a bit more of a stretch. This I could do a red eye and a red eye back and make it accessible.
Yeah.
Mentally.
We've got a fill-in producer sitting in the studios, if you do call, that's ready and waiting to take your call, and she's looking quite horrified at the thought of you calling a 13-hour trip, just a quick one.
It was relaxing. I was by myself.
Oh, no, exactly. You have those moments, and I'm sure as a mum, that opportunity to be on a plane on your own and for the first time leaving Kip at home. Tell us then what you thought of Seoul.
I fell in love with the city. I am a big city girl at heart, and as soon as I was there, I felt so much myself, which was a really lovely feeling. I walked 20,000 steps every day exploring, and I love exploring. I was just going up and down the alleyways. But I wanted to get some great tips about Korea, so I thought I'd just ask any Australians that I saw about what they were doing and what
advice.
tips, just make it into a radio story. But the first two Australians I happened to see happened to end up being the Deputy Head of Mission to the Australian Embassy and the Senior Trade Commissioner for AustTrade.
So just two random Aussies.
Random Australians. So I wasn't able to record them, but they did put me in touch with the Australian Chamber of Commerce in Korea, or AustCham, and I'm going to introduce you to that team.
Let's have a listen.
My name is Arnold. I'm from Sydney originally. I've been in Korea for about 20 months now, so 2022 April.
I'm Shelly. I'm Korean, but I was in Alice Springs for about a year.
My name's Michael. I'm from Melbourne. I've been living in Seoul for 4 years, and I'm currently here as a graduate student at Yonsei University in Seoul.
And what does that mean, a graduate student? What's that entail?
I'm studying a Masters of Global Affairs and Policy. So, majoring in international cooperation.
Yeah.
There's plenty of students coming out the back end of that,
My name is Liam Fogarty, and I've been here for about 2 weeks now. And I am here with a Griffith University program, which is a global mobility program. So essentially, I'll be here working with the Australian Chamber of Commerce for 6 weeks.
Interesting folks doing interesting things. At a higher level, what does AustCham do?
So basically, they're a peak industry body in foreign countries that represent Australian companies with the goal of advancing the broader communities. So in this case, Australian-Korean business relationships, but personal with me too. But don't listen to me. This is their own words because
they can sum up what they do.
They can sum it up better than I can.
Yeah, so Australian Chamber of Commerce in Korea. So we do represent 110 companies here in Korea, both multicultural, not all Australian, also multicultural as well, in all different sectors. So as a secretariat, we got 3 members here. We do have interns here today as well. And we are made out of 15 board of directors as well. We cover all industry sectors such as energy, finance, critical minerals, hydrogen, banking. What else do we cover, Jerry?
Any industry that there's like bilateral relationship between Korea and Australia, but recently it's more focused on energy sector because that's the highest interests that both countries have. But we do have food and beverage. What else? We have lots of hotel chains, migration related, law firms, tourism. On top of my head, those are the things that I can think of.
Yeah, anyway.
So a bit similar to AustTrade?
Yes, so Australia deals with a lot of trade and investment out of the Australian government. We do a lot of the promotions and also socials and networking side of things. We do about 55 plus events per year, networking events, both ministerial visits, CSRs, a lot of the networking functions. So we work very close with Australia and also DFAT. We call ourselves working under the umbrella of Team Australia.
You're good. That was Arnold Lee, Business Development Manager at the Australian Chamber of Commerce in Korea. Speaking with Shelley, one of the interns, do you just waltz on up with your... How do you do it now? Do you take a little kit or does your mobile phone do all the recording for you these days?
They took me to one of the most amazing cafes, which... Korea and Seoul is known for the cafe culture, and there was a lot of jazz and Christmas music and background music, and I thought it was lovely ambience, but when I recorded it on my phone when I came back, there was a little bit of anyway, our wizard Adrian Nasadi is incredible, and he's a magician, and he very kindly made it a little bit clearer for me.
Oh, that's super cool. I'd just say we did not send Mickey to Korea to do work. This was you choosing to explore and ask people, Australians that you met over there, the kinds of things that they get up to. So what kind of things did you ask them, Mickey?
I asked them all the very important stuff, like what is their best tips for travellers, aka me, or anyone.
Again, I think comes back to the point, just meet as many people as you can. Don't be shy. You don't know what person is going to open what door for you, so I recommend that.
Learn simple Korean because it will change your experience. Just speaking English and knowing just a little bit of Korean, it just changes how Koreans will react to you and like how they will be more friendly to you. So yeah, like 안녕하세요, 안녕하세요 and 감사합니다. Just two things that will just help you with anything.
And that's hello and thank you.
Yes.
I can't say it though. I've been butchering it left, right, and
Every time you go in, 안녕하세요, and it's like they always say it back, and it's like this real like nice sense of a good feeling.
So the advice would be just to walk around Seoul. I think a lot of people come here, I've seen, with really strict itineraries. Mm-hmm. I think the best way to see Seoul is to walk around the neighbourhoods because the city is constantly changing. Everything's happening so fast, and walking around, that's the way you can kind of, in a serendipitous way, discover so much more about Seoul, beyond a bus tour around the major sites. And best part about walking around is finding all the little cafes, and they're all open at night. It's so much fun to sit in those cafes and hang out. So that'd be my advice.
I would say the thing that I've learned is that Koreans sometimes can be hard to approach because they're a little bit shy. Their understanding of English is very good. This is what I've learned from people. I was actually having some drinks at a local pub on Saturday. This is where I learned most of this. Is that they actually understand a lot of English, but they struggle with speaking it. So they get a little bit self-conscious. So I find that if you're making an active effort to engage with them, that you'll get a lot out of it.
That's such an interesting point because I think it's how self-conscious we are that kind of is that barrier actually to how much we use a language or we choose not to use a language. The advice early on in that clip about learning some Korean and just having a couple of phrases, you in there said, you were having a bit of trouble with that. Did you get to a point where you were willing to use?
I was willing each time.
Yeah.
But I failed pretty much every time. So gamna samdia was thank you, but I again ruined it then. And I felt like maybe on the last day I was getting on board with that word, but hello just evaded me every time. It was like I was doing Mickey's Korean.
Yeah.
Which they were still receptive to because I was trying.
And appreciate the effort, right? That you're trying to. And I think that's the important thing, that we just roll up the sleeves and have a go. And we heard in reverse, whilst Korean people may understand English quite well, A, we shouldn't just assume that they do, but B, they also have a nervousness of engaging with you in English. So what about food, Mickey? Interested in talking about this because I can imagine the food was amazing. Some may say it's the most important of any trip, wherever you go.
Some may say, but as a vegetarian travelling to certain countries, food has been quite a hard part of travel for me my whole life. When I went to France when I was younger, there was a lot of just bread and cheese. Spain doesn't really cater for vegetarians.
All big meat eaters.
So it was a bit tricky for me. I did have this one wonderful dish, which was a cold noodle dish.
Right.
So it was a bowl, like a huge bowl. It had ice in it and cold noodles, and I had to have a pair of scissors to cut it up. They had to hand me the scissors because apparently that's what you do. But because I was a vegetarian and I struggled, I thought I'd ask the AustCham family again what they thought.
And a tip to find good food would be, like Michael was saying, just walk. And don't go to the first place you see, don't go to the second place, just keep walking, and then you'll find some really like small place with an ajuma in there.
What's an ajuma?
Ajuma is an old Korean lady.
Yes.
And they're so lovely, and they speak no English.
Yeah.
So it's lots of pointing and kind of gesturing, and they get the gist.
Yeah.
And half the time they just like take your order for you. They just tell you what you're having.
Yeah.
And I couldn't pronounce half the foods that I've eaten.
Yeah.
But always a good experience. So
Yeah, I do like that.
yeah.
If I may, second to what Liam said, when you go into a restaurant for dinner or lunch, don't eat at one place. Don't eat enough for a full meal. Because as you walk outside, there's always something else to eat. So my food tip would be do not eat the whole meal at a restaurant. As soon as you walk out, you will be eating something else somewhere else.
For me, I just look at all the reviews.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of ads like mixed in with those reviews. So you have to know, like you have to look for the real reviews. It's the words that they use. If it's too, what's the word? Typical or
Big buzzwordy.
yeah, too typical, or if they're like very 정제되다. How would you say it? Like yeah, like clean, like they don't swear or they don't use any raw expressions. It's likely to be ads. But there are some people who get really excited and like pour their heart out to their reviews. That's the real deal. Yeah.
I like that tip too. Your food tip?
My food tip is usually with any meal you'll get given kimchi.
Yeah.
And the first thing you should do is always eat the kimchi. And if the local Korean staffers see you eating that kimchi, they will love you for it. I used to have this restaurant, a woman, I go there after my hike every time, and she never used to speak to me. She was so surly with me. And then one day I went in there and I ate all her kimchi, and she instantly changed. And now I get she gives me fruit, she gives me extra pork in my meals, she gives me the royal treatment. Yeah. And I think if you can go in there and seriously want to impress the locals, and then have some conversations, eat all the kimchi and ask for more. And when at it, ask for more and they'll love you for it. That's my advice. That's my advice to all the Perthans.
Always trust the ajumas. Trust them. They know what you want more than you do.
That's right.
And they look at you and they made a judgment, and they're not wrong about it. So I stand by my point.
Make sure this.
Sometimes you have to work really hard for advice. Mickey, they were made for giving advice.
That's what I told them on the day. I'm like, you guys are made for radio. We had a lovely coffee. It was a great 45 minutes we spent together, and it was radio gold.
I love the notion of this, every meal's a progressive dinner.
Yeah, progressive dinner. Because it is. You just walk and walk and go, and then you just
have a little bit here. Yep. Just keep moving. Explore another corner, eat something else.
I wouldn't even know what cafes I was going into. Once I went, it's the photo I sent to you and Sab, into a yogurt bakery. I did not know it was a yogurt bakery, Tatari Garden, and I had to make my way through it in Korean, and there's not very many English speakers in there. And then I got the most wonderful bowl of Greek yogurt, which I was not expecting, and it tasted like ice cream. It was incredible.
Have you been to Seoul or to Korea? I'd love to hear from you this morning. 0437 922 720 is the text number. We're 7 minutes away from 9. Chris Parry is off exploring to get more fodder for us, and Mickey took a crazy trip to Korea. She was here last Saturday and she's back here this Saturday, and somewhere in between she spent some time exploring Seoul. What else did you get up to for fun, Mickey?
Well, I really wanted to get a facial. Does my skin look glowing?
You are glowing.
I'm glowing. Korea is known for Korean spas, skincare and facials.
Right.
So I did go and get one. I've never had a facial before, so it was an interesting experience. I would have called it a face massage, really.
Okay.
Yes. And Michael Bradford is going to tell us a little bit about the skincare in Korea.
The best tip I can give you is to go to Olive Young.
Yeah.
It's a cosmetic shop. It's got all the skincare you could want. And especially for Australians who live in a really sunny country, I think in Australia skincare is underrated. And I've gotten heavily into it since I've been in Korea, and it's just the best shop. Every time I walk past one, I always go on to Olive Young. So that would be my recommendation.
Yeah, you got lovely skin.
Thank you.
I'm planning on getting a facial later.
You should have seen me 4 years ago. It was terrible. Because I think the skincare in Australia, no one gets on it, but over here, Olive Young, great cosmetic shop, takes care of everything you need at value.
A really big thing. Did you walk around looking at everyone's beautiful skin?
I look like the oldest person in Korea. Everybody had such beautiful skin.
Under 40.
I am under 40, and I look like the oldest person in Korea.
Oh, it does make you wonder a little that we don't have a really huge, especially given how much time we all spend in the sun.
Yeah.
And how harsh that can be. That we don't really have a huge skincare industry as such here.
So I was wondering the exact same thing. So I called our resident expert, the cosmetic science Dr. Michelle Wong, and I asked her a bit more about the Australian skincare industry versus Australia's and Korea's and whatnot. And here's what she had to say.
Korea and a lot of East Asia has a really thriving beauty market because a lot of people there are really conscious about how their skin looks. And the average person is just a lot more aware of skin products and cosmetic treatments, and they're more willing to try new things. So there is a lot of innovation in the Korean beauty industry. We're also a lot more aware of it outside of Korea because the Korean government has actually got a lot of incentives like tax breaks for companies that export Korean products, and skincare is a really big part of that. I think it is a bit harder for Australia to catch up to that. We have a small population and we don't have a lot of domestic R&D or manufacturing. But I do think we are leading the world in terms of sunscreen. There are a lot of Australian sunscreen brands that have really fantastic products. They're a really good mix of high protection, since obviously we have really high UV exposure, but they're also really comfortable to wear every day under makeup. They're really practical products that I think a lot more people should know about.
Good food, great exploring, beautiful skin. What else is the country known for, Mickey?
Cafes? Can I just change this last part and not go ahead with what I've
told me what you were going to answer this question.
So I am going to end this radio conversation by embarrassing myself. Karaoke, and we've spoken about this before for Saturday Sounds, and I did freeze on air trying to do my rap. And shout out to Evan for his rap that he did when he did it. But I did hear the team talk about karaoke, and this is what they had to say.
So in Seoul, there's a lot of one-person booth karaoke. We call it 노래방. But yeah, so once a week I would go there by myself and just sing until I lose my voice, which takes about an hour. For fun and to release stress. And if there's a song that I want to practice, I would just go sing like 5 times. Yeah.
Yes, similarly, I went through a period where I had a lot going on, like different things, work and my studies and all the rest of it. And I'd only been to the karaoke rooms for fun with friends, but I started going by myself. Like, you go after work, you just go in for like 40 minutes and you just sing, and it's the best thing because you can literally hear people howling from the next room. So it's not about actually being able to sing well. You just get it out of your system, and it's like the same thing as exercising. Afterwards, you just feel way better.
Yeah,
it's really good.
And has that inspired you to go to karaoke and release your stress?
Yeah, I think it has, because one of the things that I've found since I've been in Seoul is that it's very quiet. Like, lots of times when you're in public, you can't be too loud. And I'm quite a loud person. I like to talk loud. I like to sing football chants and things like that. I always feel like I can't really do that. So I think that's something that I've kind of been missing the last 2 weeks. So now that I know that it's more normal for one person to go to karaoke, and because I'm not a very good singer, I can go and get some practice. Yeah.
Because I'm Korean by blood, when I do hang out with Koreans, so we do this thing called first round, second round, third round for drinking. So usually the third round is always a karaoke. It's a set thing to do.
Yeah.
So we always go to karaoke every time we go out.
Oh, I'm looking at Sabrina Hahn through the glass. So possibly not the place you're going to be allowed to go if you have to be quiet while you're in public, Savvy. But Mickey, you know what I'm going to ask you. Did you?
As a curious person, as a writer, journalist, whatever, you know what I had to do? I had to go to solo karaoke. And this is how I started, and I'm just going to hide now. You can fade that down. So that was Robbie. I started, but then flip, and this is how much...
Hang on. No. Shh, I'm turning your microphone off.
And they gave me 00, the Korean screen for my vote, and then I got a bit better with No Doubt.
Okay.
It's got right into it. And that's because you can hear people singing like this. There's one giving me. This is what I could hear from the other people singing in the background.
Oh, Mickey, you have nailed that, and your willingness to come back and put, even if it was 2 4-second clips to air.
They were longer, and I kept on editing them down as the morning went along.
And then you tried to talk straight over the top of them. It sounds like you had a wonderful time.
Yeah, book that trip on a whim. Get weird. Have fun with yourself and do it.
You've inspired me. I'm going to go home and work out where I can book on a whim and take myself 13 hours. There you go. Mickey said 13 hours is totally acceptable for booking on a whim. 13 hours each way to get yourself to Seoul. Mickey Cusack, thank you so much. That really was lots of fun.